Okay, so welcome. Today we have, and let me share my screen. So today we're going to have a joint session, and we'll have that today and tomorrow. Essentially, a joint front end back end session. We do have a couple of people from the infrastructure squad on this session as well, because this little new mini project we're going to work on, we will have an infrastructure piece to it as well that I've just thought of. Okay, so our goals for today and possibly spilling into tomorrow are pretty ambitious. We're going to build a data visualization app for COVID data. This is an idea thanks to Wale. In the last backend squad session, we looked at consuming that data from a CSV file. The file we had about, what, 13,000 or 15,000 records in it. And that data is updated. Is it updated daily, Wale, or how often is it updated?
Yes, it's ideally it's updated daily, but the one I sent to you is a static version, static one from like May 17th.
Right. So, but I just mean the source. The data is updated daily.
The source, yes.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to build an app to visualize this data.
Yay!
We're going to build it end to end, right? From the back to the front, everything. And the infrastructure piece, and this is where the challenge is going to be for the infrastructure squad, and we'll solve that on Saturday, is to automate that ingestion of the data such that you just go to the app and it has the latest data available. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Now, like I said, we're going to build it end to end. Some of the things I will do might be a little new, right? But my goal is going to be to try to get this out in 2 hours, which means for this answers a lot of people's questions about, okay, so what could you do? What pieces fit where? How does back end and front end, and how do they all come together? Today we will answer back end versus front end coming together. You clearly see the separation between them, and we'll go from there. All right. Now, also a slight disclaimer. I won't use Visual Studio Code because I do want to work as fast as possible. Right, so, and that's not my primary IDE. I'm going to use Vim, which is what I primarily develop in. Beyond, we all know Visual Studio Code by now, so what's going to be different mainly is how I create files and edit files and all that. But I do need, for me to get this done in 2 hours, I need kind of like my typical development space. Okay, so.
Can I say something? You can, sorry.
Yeah.
So I was looking at the Vim editor, and sometimes like the dashes or dots wasn't really clear. I'm not sure whether there's anything we can do. That was just from yesterday. I mean, of course, I went to Google to check, but I was wondering if there's anything we could do. That's one. Then number two, when you use the Vim, we don't see the name of the file that you're editing. So
I'll
sometimes
show you the file names where they are in Vim, so that you would see it. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's get started. So let's come here. And first thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going to create a new repo. So let's start from Git. We're going to make it a new project. Okay. Now, of course, everyone's going to have access to this eventually, and I put my GitHub all the way up here somewhere. All right, so we're going to create a new repository for this. Let's see, what do we call this? We'll just call it COVID Spy. All right, I'll keep it as a private repository, and I'm going to add a Node.js to ignore. Mode. Okay, So create this repository. Okay. So now I'm going to clone this repository. Okay, so I can work on it. All right. Um, like this. Let's turn it on. All right. Okay. So I'm just cloning that. I clone that COVID spy. COVID spy. All right. We start a new node project here. So npm init. I'll just load all the details. Okay. I'm going to make a web app directory. I'm going to init here as well. Okay. Oh, sorry. Already did that. See the web app. Init. Okay. npm. And I'm going to say ng. Oh, actually, no. Let's do this. Okay. The COVID file, right? Web app. All right. So I'm going to say ng new. Web app. Okay. Would I like to add Angular routing? Yes. So now I'm creating the new Angular app. I'm going to use SCSS. Right. So this is what you would normally do when you're starting your own new project. Remember the steps I did? First, I created a repo and then I cloned it. And then I initialized npm init. And then I created a new web app. And this web app could be any name you choose to call it. I just like to call it web app. You could call it whatever you want. And whatever you call it, it will create that folder. So if I do this now, I now have web app. Okay. So I'm going to go in web app here. So let me open the second terminal. Web app. Third one. Yeah. And then here, I'll do an npm. So here, good. So I do want to use Angular material for this. It's going to make some things easier for me. So I'm going to actually use that. So ng add Angular material. That should do it for me. Sure. Okay. So I'm adding Angular material, and well, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to change the colors later anyway, so I'll just go with the indigo tint. Okay, set up Google Anthony. Yeah. Google style, set up browser animations for Angular material. Yes. Okay. Sorry, I'm staying hydrated. This is a technical joust. All right. So we have Angular material and all set up now. And we'll try this now on VS Mesh. Oh. While that's installing, let me just pull up this documentation. And close as many tabs as possible. Here. All right, so this is my app here, and let's set that up. Okay. All right, so we have this running, which is good. So I'm going to come in here. When you go to source, sorry, yeah, I'm going to, yes, go to source and app, right? All right, so I'm going to just take and work from here. So I'm going to open my app. All right. Okay, so I've cleared it up so that I have a clean screen. All right, so here, let's change the name of this, the title of the site here from web app to COVID-19 spy. Okay, the title attribute here changes what shows up here. Okay, that's what I just want to change that. We have this all set up, everything good. All right, so let's get started. So first, I need a nav bar of some sort. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create and use an Angular material nav bar, okay, which is um, it's called the toolbar here. here, and then NDGC bar. Right. So here, I have log bar. Okay, so make a log bar here. Here. This is here. Covid-19. Okay, so I don't have Angular material is not updated yet. Let's just get started.
So is Math an NG framework like any other module?
Angular material is this whole library.
It's its own library, right?
Yes. So I'm going to, I can't go into too much detail here.
I understand that. I understand.
So, but what I need to do is, okay. Actually, it's a faster way. Second. Normally, I would have my browser on a separate screen. And this time I'll have screen here. Second, yeah. What the module? Okay. This is what I want to do here. Let's see. Let's board these, just save time. So I'll do this rough configuration of them before. Have to do this again. Here. Okay. So just for those who don't, just so you can follow a little, I'm literally still just setting up my application. So I'm adding packages. Okay. So this package I just installed is gives us the flex grid, which is a responsive. Um, it helps us make the application responsive very quickly. Yeah. Let me just check what I have here. That's my view. Um, okay. Um, okay, so for I think Ralph asked, you can see the file names there. Can you see the file names right there? If you don't track which file I'm working on, the file names are right under the,
Okay.
yeah, that helps you know which file is which. Okay. So, just one second. Again, okay, the 83 module. Okay. mid routes. And then the last one. Last one is on line 29. Rebuild this. All right. Let's see. What is this? There. Okay, I might just have to skip the angular material for now. We'll come back to it. All right, will not do my styles by hand. This one. So let's just come back here. Get this up. That's the way to use it. Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna go on without it. So which means I'm going to manually roll everything. So Vim, Navbar, Navbar component, HTML. So this is going to be a nav. Nav. All right. A. COVID-19 spy. State bar and London. Yes. Okay. All right, so let's get started here. So let's get started with this. So our nav, we're gonna make this this one. Um, all right, let's get started. Background. Okay. All right. So we have this. Okay, so let's talk about the kind of data that we have. And then that will help give us some context. All right. Look at this data that we are fetching here. We have cases, we have death, right? And so what we're going to do is, what I'm thinking for the for this dashboard here is to have like 4 blocks at the top here, okay, that will show the current days total cases, total deaths, and then cumulative cases and cumulative deaths. Okay, so just like 4 big, what do you call them? Almost like radiator number type things, right? So I'm gonna make a component to hold those here at the top here. Okay. So here's what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ndgc dashboard highlights. Actually, let's just call it highlights. Okay. I'll add it to the app module. All right. Close this. Um, okay. And here, let's add it to the main app. We're going to do this. App highlights. That's what it would be called. Okay. And you can see right there. So now we're going to go on and we're going to work on this. This is our app highlights. We're going to say, if we could do here, that's essentially the container for them. So we did. And then we're going to, here, we're going to make essentially four tiles. So div class equals highlight tile, right? And then each one will have a small heading, so H3, right? That is 2 days cases. And we'll have a div equals large number, right? And here we'll have the number. Okay. Now we can copy this and make one more of these. All right, and then let's see if we do that. And then make this total. We can do that here as well. Okay. So if Q2 is all right. Now let's add the styles for this. Split highlights. Edit the CSS for that. And first thing we want to say is the first we'll say, let's start with the highlights. I just want to bump it down. We could breathe from the top here. So imagine the top 10 pixels. Okay. And I have the div dot highlights file, which is for each of those divs. Let's say width 25%. Right. Border. Right. highlight. Okay. And we're going to do okay. Margin. Okay. So the pixel width. Okay. All right. So the H3 here. Same size. Smaller. And then at the bottom, pixel, over, bottom, pixel, over. Okay. And then first thing we need to do is to set this large number. Save that large number. And let's set this to be size. That's the line, center. All right. Nothing. Okay. Let's make this. Let's say center as well. Okay. Okay. Let me see. Margin minus pixel. Yeah. That way the line touches. The line goes all the way across. Okay, so we kind of set up our template now. Later when I get Angular material in here, you will see how this will be better aligned, will be better centered, but this will give us a good start. Okay. All right, so the next thing that we need to do is let's set up that backend. We'll just copy the backend that we did in the backend squad so that I don't have to recreate that from scratch. All right. So let's go in and do that. Let's do CPU. What did we call that COVID data?
You mean last class?
Yeah.
Pulled since I don't know if you've pushed it yet. I don't remember.
I think it was still in classroom. It was still in classroom. Yeah, it was still in classroom. Okay.
You mean the Excel sheet? I mean the okay.
The CSV, yeah. It was still in classroom. So
Okay.
don't worry about it. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna copy connection.js. Let me copy that too. All right. I need to copy routes. We're gonna copy the routes. So we're gonna copy server.js. And copy document. That's fine. And I think that should do it for us there. So if we look here, and so we can do anything. So say express body parser. And what else do we? Well, we'll find out if I try to do this mode. Is 4300, right? Of what is this running on 4200? So, let's see 4300. Okay. So mode one. Okay. All right, so I have the backend server running on 4300, and I can come here like this and fetch this data. Nope. And now we property. Oh, I didn't copy the file. This is the error that Ralph had, right?
I think I had to. Well, yes, that's it.
Yeah. Now it works. Now we got 4300 the data. All right. Let's get back to our Angular app. We have the backend running. Right now, we're not retrieving the data, but we can confirm it's running here and it's giving us data. Okay. Now, the other thing we're going to do with this data is, so the plan here is to have these large, like, dial numbers here. Okay, so we have these large numbers, and then we're going to have charts. And then we have a table where you can actually see the breakdown. So right now we have the data. I think we have enough data to create a table. Right. I have enough data to create a table. So let's go for that first. Okay. All right. So we're going to create a new component for the table, of course. I mean, you're starting to say pattern, right? Everything we're putting together is a component. We're not creating one large component and putting all the pieces in it. We're breaking up our implementation components. That way we can remove components and move them around easily, right? Literally by moving one line of code. So right now I'm just going to create a highlights table component or something, right? Or a table component. Okay, so let's do this. Just call it ngGC table. Okay, so we're just going to create a table component here, and we will all right, and then here, let's add that here. So we're going to add that table. And that's shown up right here. Okay. What we're going to do here, I had to put padding on that. I'll just put the padding. I'm going to put everything in a div that has a padding. So div. And then let's edit the CSS for that split. Component SCSS, and our div is called container, right? Content. Okay, then come in here, save this. All right, and everything is now indented. I need to fix my highlights. So highlights. Let's keep the style here for this, and let's keep the margin up. And then here is okay. What I just did was to make this line up the table. Okay. All right, so let's work on our table. And Now for my table, I'm going to make my table dynamic because I don't want to have to program it. So what I'm going to do here, sorry for the ding, that's just Vim telling me I'm trying something wrong. So I'm just going to create my table here. Here I'm going to create my T head. I'm going to create my TR here. And then my table cells, right? My table headings. I'm going to do NG4. And here I'm going to do field.label. Okay. This way I don't have to manually write out however many fields I need. And this will also allow me to do something like this. My container here, in my component, my table component here, I can create an array called fields. And then define field objects with name. So I'm going to take these fields here and I'm going to say date, name, date, reported, right? Date underscore, and then label, date reported. Okay. And how many fields do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8. Okay. Make 7 copies of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. The next one is country code. And this will be country code. And then this next one is country. And this one, next one is virtual region. And this next one is new cases and accumulated cases. All right, so new cases. And same thing for deaths, right? New deaths. All right. So, all right. Okay, so this now should give me that. So I have my table columns laid out based off of that. And then I'm going to create a data. For now, I'm just going to leave it as that, so that I can create my T body and then here TR. We're going to loop through the data in the for let record data. Then we're going to use the same loop. So something like this. Let's change this to a 2D. Change this to a 2D. And here, we want to do record, and we want to get that field. So what this will do here is field of name is the name of the field, right? So for the very first column, we should get the date reported. Second column, to get the country code field, etc. Right? The beauty of this is that I can completely rearrange how my table is. If I want to make date reported the last column, I can just stick it here and stick it at the end, right? And if you look at my table, it's now at the end. And everything, even the data columns, will automatically match. This is dynamically generated. So that way I don't have to drag both the column here and the field and constantly keep track of them. I don't need to. I just manage this array. I'm good. All right. Okay. So we have this set up now. Let's bring in some data and let's see how that works. So what I'm going to do is, remember, to bring in data, we have to create a service, right? So we have this endpoint, the backend. For the front end to get data from the backend, we have to create a service and some HTTP client, right, to pull that data. Now, so let's do this. And we're going to create a service. So ng generate service, right? COVID data. Right. So now and I want to put in the data on the app component itself so that I don't have to. So I'm going to open up my app component TS file here. The data service. Okay. And so here, that's an injectable, so I'm going to inject it here. So I'm going to say import delete data service from and then here I did have my constructor. Private with data. So I put into the service. All right. Oh, not good. Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah. Sorry. On the same level. Okay. All right. So our service is, we've included it. It's not doing anything yet. And so what we want to do is here, we want to say get data, right? We're going to say import HTTP client, which is the service in Angular for connecting to resources. Angular slash one slash HTTP. If you don't remember these parts, you can always search for them, right? You can always check the documentation. You're not expected to memorize all of this. But the HTTP client, you need to know what it is you want to use. So we definitely want to use that. And we want to inject it here because it's direct injectable. We're going to say private HTTP client. Okay, that gives us that. Now we can say return the get. Explode this here. Okay, and here we can say this dot this right here. This needs to be this dot HTTP. Okay, and then here now we can say this dot Covid data service will get data, right? All right, now I'm going to do this here, and I'm going to say one subscribe with, so we need a callback for that. Error, this with data error. And here, I'm just going to set up a variable and data error. All right, let's see where we are right now. That's here. Yeah, I'm missing something here. Oh. All right. Okay, so if we inspect this now, we should actually have a call going out now. Let's filter by XHR. All right. Now our get here is failing. And why is it failing? Okay, so it's failing here because of a CORS issue. And that's because this address is at a different port from this one. So we're going to fix that quickly. This is 4200. This is 4300. CORS is a cross-origin request resource sharing. It's a security thing that requires XHR requests to be made from the same server. I mean, from the same domain as the server it is requesting, right? So essentially, the server is rejecting it. But what we're going to do is we're going to enable CORS. So I'll just pull this here, and just going to ask to enable CORS on node. So node, yes, enable CORS. And it should be really simple. Express CORS where. So just install CORS. Okay. So this is what we need to do here. Clear the server here. npm install save CORS. Not server.js. Start close here. Yes. And then usage update use CORS. Okay. All right, let's see how this helps us. All right, let's see if that solves our problem here. Okay, CORS is enabled now, and our request is being made. We're getting our data back. Right. So we're in a relatively decent state here. Now, things get a little bit more complicated here in that we're getting the data here on this component, right? But this isn't the component that has the table. We want to actually use the data in our table and in our highlights, right? So let's quickly do the data for our table and our highlights. And what we're going to do here is we're going to create bindings, or we're going to pass them in as inputs. So here, let's do the table first. And I want to go with the table component. Okay, and I want to use what's called an input declarator. So here, just add input here. And here we're gonna define data as an input. So we're gonna say add input data, which makes it an input. And then the way we would actually do that input here is on this we need a public property code that we can call data, right? And then here, on the success of this, we'll assign the data we get back to data. So this data, data. Remove the highlights so you can see. So data is what comes back from the service. That's what the service gives us, right? Which is what comes from this API call. And this data is this property here, which is exposed to the template. So this data, we're just setting this to this, okay? So that the template has access to it. And then in our template, the component, right, where we are actually including the highlights and the table. So for the table, for example, we're going to do this. We're going to say data, right, equals data. And that creates a binding, right? That creates what's called a binding. So we now have an input. So this has to be a property on the table component, right, that can receive input data or input value. I use the square brackets to bind to it, which is what I'm doing. Okay. This template here is a template for the app component, which is the one that fetches the data. But I want to also use that data in other components. This way, I can fetch the data once and use it, pass it to all the components. They're all going to be using the exact same data set. And if you look on the right here to see what's happening, see my table. My table has been populated because I've bound it now and passed it on. Right?
So you can you want this computer died, so she has to be let back in.
Okay, yeah. So I now have my table with the data. Let's style it so it's a little more visible. Maybe I should pull this part so it's not so small. Let's see. Let's pull this. All right. So here is our table. I wish I could share both screens, but okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this, so let me share. I'm not going to split my screen into like 4 anymore. That's going to be better. Is it better?
Yes.
Is better. Okay. All right. So let's style this table and make it look a little more like a table, right? So then table, I'll go to the style sheets here. Oh, I don't have any styles on the table at all. Okay. So we can say T head, right? Now that's the table. The width, 100%. I want the T head and the T body. So for the T head, the T row here, we want background to be color to be, and the color is the text. The color attribute CSS directive is for the text color. All right, and we'll do text align left, adding 5 pixels, 2 pixels. Let's see what that looks like. That's right now. Okay. Actually, let's put the padding in the cells. I got it the other way around. Yeah. Okay. It's better. I'm not cool. And then for T-body, TR, we want background to be C. And just with the cells, the same padding on the cells. Not so much for all right. So we have a table now. This is a huge table. It's huge. We'll work on reducing the amount of values that we show on the table, but we can fix that from the data because these aren't grouped by dates. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So we will want the backend to only return the current date initially, right?
Yes.
Unless you provide the date range. So if you provide the date range, then it will go accumulative. But so far, we've kind of gotten the front end to where, you have the data coming. Let's do our cases as well. Our cumulatives. Actually, our cumulatives can come from the data as well, right? So we'll do something with that. But for now, so same thing that we did for the table widget here. We're going to do for the highlights component. So we'll give it that data as well. So I've got highlight the same way here. We're going to pass that data to it as input. Data. Highlights. So in the component here, we'll set up that data property to be an input. So we have to import input here first. And then we can use it to decorate. We'll say that input. We use it to decorate the data property. Okay. We haven't bound this yet. These are hard-coded values. So for now, we don't have any. Now we can come in here and we can bind them. So let's open the highlight template and bind them. Oh, no, right. Let's open the highlight template. And let's find these values. So, don't do this. Data, but today's cases. Here, then do data, but today deaths. Come here. Data, but total cases. The last one here. Divided to data, but total. Okay, so we said it. There's no values, so I can say this is how you say this is an or. This is a literal or. So if it doesn't have data.total depth, then it'll show any.
So that's kind of like your if error situation.
Yes, exactly. No, not if error, but if I don't have, if this key doesn't exist, or if,
Gotcha.
right,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
I can do this. So in JavaScript, and this is JavaScript. JavaScript allows you to do this.
Sure.
So now we'll show any. Okay. So that way I don't just have those empty boxes, but it's waiting. Once I fix the data that comes from the back end and it has values for that, then this will work. Okay. Now, the other thing I'm going to do for this table is I'm going to have it, because I want to change the structure of the data that comes from the backend, because I want the backend to return this today's cases, today's deaths, and cumulative cases and cumulative, right? I want that to come from the backend. Okay. And the reason is I want us to do those aggregates in MySQL. And we're going to do it. It's only going to take a couple of minutes to actually set up the backend properly the way we want. But I want to change this, the table widget, right? I want to change it to use a different property. Right now, we see this right now, it is looping on record of data directly, right? It's looping on data. So data itself is the array. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to loop on data.records. Okay. And now nothing, right? But if I come here, let me talk here. Give us a new tab so I can work on the back end at the same time. And if I open that router, the COVID data router, right? If I open this router and make it, rather than it just returning output.slice, right? I make it return a JSON object with a records property, right? That is that data. Then now, when I refresh this, now we have the data. Because our output here has changed. It's now an object with a records property that's an array. You get what I mean? And with this now, I can actually have, what are the other fields I have here? I can now have a daily a total that's, all right, today, let me open that up. Highlights, components of HTML. So I can now have today cases, today that's, and I can show you that. If I come here to this my JSON object output, right? Let me do it this way. So it's gonna be a little easier. If I do this and I say today cases 120, right? And I refresh this. Now I have this here, right? Today cases 120. If I come here and I refresh this, my 120 now shows up here because my backend now returns. Okay, so I can actually set up all the numbers that I need here. Today, that 15 total cases, 240 total deaths, 30. I save that here and I refresh this now. And I have some numbers. I don't know, does that make sense? You see the connection between them? The backend is what returns the data, right? Which is our router in the backend, our Express app returns the data. The front end displays the data. For it to display the data, the service needs to connect to the backend, fetch the data, and pass it on. So the service is like a broker. Connects to the backend, fetches the data, passes it on to the component, and then the component uses it. And the component, the app component is like a parent component. These other components are child components in it. So it passes that same data to each one. Like here you go, do whatever you will. It's exactly the same data. Fetch it once, use it many times. Okay. All right. So now we have this. Now we have this view. Let's make the backend actually compute these values for us. We also want our table to only show the most recent day or today, right? And we want it to show the numbers by country. Okay. So the first thing, so we have a database that we already set up for this, and we actually set up a script that can import the data into the database. Right? The one problem that we had yesterday was the date field, so I'm going to try to fix this date field issue, right? So that it can insert into the database as a proper date. So what do we do? Okay, all right, so let's do this. Let's do database sum. All right, so I want to change this date recorded field into an actual date field. So first I'm going to truncate the database so I don't have any data in it. So truncate deletes all the data, so there's nothing in the table. And then alter, alter table, delete data, modify date recorded to date time. Yeah, no, date time is fine. That's the time frame. Okay, let's see what this looks like now. Describe.
There's a chance the time isn't a factor this time around.
What?
There's a chance the time isn't a factor this time around. It's a daily update.
Oh, okay. Okay. So,
Not really.
so it's it's just a date. All right.
Yeah,
Perfect. Even better. So we're going to just change it to date. Sweet. That makes it even better. All right. So what we're going to do, this is going to make our date range calculations a lot easier. All right. So now, training, classroom. There's a script that we wrote to copy the data. Remember what it's called? Seed data. All right, so I'm going to copy that over. Just copy that over to here so that we have it. We're going to open it. Then seed data. Let's edit it so that for that field, we'll convert it into a JavaScript date, and that will work. All right, and so this is our for each record, date field, date field equals fields that index date recorded. Okay, and then what we want is column data date field equal to date recorded equals volume data date field. So I'm just trying to get the dates. So this string, I'm trying to get it, and I want to convert it into an actual I want JavaScript to help me convert it into a proper date. So that's it. Equal so where is that again? Here, if I say, so in JavaScript, you could, come on. In JavaScript, if you take a date string and create a new date object with it, right? To create a date object at that date. And so here, I can now say Um, column equals date dot time, which converts that into milliseconds, which can then be inserted into the date field in the database. So let's confirm that and just check. So JavaScript, yeah, date. I think date get time. So get time is what I need. No. Number of milliseconds, yes, get time is what I need. So here, sometimes I mix things up between PHP and JavaScript. So those wires cross quite often. All right, so here, I want to load one. Oh, I don't need load one. But m/config c data. Let's try this. Ooh, no. And actually, oh, date recorded. Type value for column. All right, stop. Save it here. Let's see. The BTC date. What's he complaining about here? Wrong value. Oh no 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 no. 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 Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna do it in a simpler way. I'm gonna save it as milliseconds. So just let's just convert it to timestamp. Oh. All right, it should work now. What on earth is going on? This is another second. This is frustrating me.
Does my SQL see those dates values as actual dates or as strings?
Well, okay. That's a good question because that'll help me slow down and just actually solve it. So let me solve it. Use master classroom, truncate that table. Let's change it to dates. And I'll stop being lazy and just do it properly. So what my SQL does, right? What it sees as date is the format like that: year, month, date. Okay? That's what it sees. All right? So that is what I need, and it's a string. All right? So JavaScript date. What I need, right, is the JavaScript date has many methods that return different formats. Use the W3 schools one because it is a little nicer. Um, all right. So there's the to UTC string. Okay, there we go. So to date string, um, to UTC string. Let's see. Use this. I don't think I can't insert this. Let me try. Let's try that. Okay. Let's do to UTC string. Okay. So it's not okay. All right. Okay. So I'm going to just create the I'm going to just create the date string here, which is get year, right? Plus Date reported the get month. Plus date reported that okay. So get full year times the year, get month times the month, and then get day. No, get date. Get date. And this is get month plus one. Let's try that. There you go. I was just being lazy, but so now we'll have all the dates, and then we can retrieve that from the database, and we can do the group bys and everything. Right? Okay, we have less than 5 minutes. Once this seed script is done inserting,
It's going to 16,000 and something.
All right, so it's done. Okay, so now if we go to our database, we should have if we get our database now, we should have select count, remember that? From COVID. Right. We have 16,120 records. Okay. So what we're just going to do now is rather than read the data from the file like we're doing here, right? We're going to use the connection. We're going to start M. Okay, here. Okay. So we have our connection. Okay, and we're gonna write our SQL here. Let's get rid of our SQL equal select star from COVID data, right? Where date date reported equals, and we're going to what's called a subquery here. So select max date, max date reported from COVID data. Right. This is connection dot query SQL. Results or output. Error. Let's see a little bit more. All right, let's try it. So we've changed it now to use the database. Let's see what we get. Come here. Let's try this one first. Watch this. Great. Works on the database. Does it work from the database actually? No. Yes. Yeah, it actually works from the database. Oh, works from the database. And let's look at this. If you have, look at that. It's now individual countries.
Nice.
It's now individual countries.
Nice.
Yeah. And which is awesome because if we give 5 more minutes, I will create these aggregates as well. Is anyone down for that? Or are we totally melted out?
I'm down.
I'm down.
Okay, let's spend 5 more minutes. So this is more on the back end side of things now. But what we want to do is do total cases for the day, right? Total deaths, total. So we want to do those totals, right? So this is where promises come into play and why JavaScript is very, very fast on the server side, so that we can execute those queries in parallel rather than one after the other. So we have our main SQL here, right? So we're going to take our response out of here. Let's take it out of here. And then we're going to say promise that was all promises, and then here, let's put this, and this is going to be, I'm going to take this slice out so that it doesn't have to do that. This is going to be responses 0. All right. So I'm going to create promises because there's just an array of all my promises, and then push new promise. So check and do this in here. All right, and I'm going to take this signal here. Put that there. All right, so I have that for that. So my second one will be select Um, so I want, what do I want? Today total, right? What's it? Today cases. Okay, so
Yes.
want select sum, right? So all I want to do is run the sum
You summon all the new cases.
new cases, right?
Yeah.
As today cases. Okay. So that gives us today cases. And then we'll take this and then make this new depth, right? All right, let's try these two first. And so this is gonna be our responses. One, zero, dot today cases. And same thing here. Today depths. Let's try this.
Did you miss R or no?
Oh yeah. That's the French version.
C.
All right. Okay, sponsors. Let's see. On line 19, I have it on here. Yeah, seems all together. No. Oh, you're saying. Oh yeah. I am missing that because I am doing a push. This is not good. Here. All right, let's try this again. All right, that is good. Let's try this. Oh. My bad. Promises that all there. It's not going to return because it needs to be with them. All right. I think. Am I missing? Missing something in my syntax for promise that I am. So, yeah. Nope. Well, I think I'm gonna have to let folks go because I have to debug this slightly. It's a minor debug, but we can end here. We still have tomorrow to put our charts in. So we'll stop here. I mean, after party, folks, I'm going to take about 5 more minutes just to debug this and fix this. So anyone that wants to stay on can stay on. But tomorrow, um, just so this is where we are, right? We have the table. We have kind of our basic layout set up. Tomorrow, we're going to actually add the charts to this and add like.
But please don't stop.
Yes.
But please don't stop recording until you finish the debugging.
Okay. All right. But yes, if you need to hop off, you can hop off. If you want to stay on while I debug, it's only going to take me a couple of minutes. I just need to make this promise return, that's all. So I'm going to just come here. And what's happening right now is that it's not coming into this restless send. Oh, yes. I'll tell you why. I don't need to tell you why. I know why. Because I'm not resolving my promises here. So I need to resolve my promise with my output. Which is what I need to do here. So here, if there's an error here, reject error, right? And then it's going to be else. And we're going to resolve output. That's what's happening. I'm not resolving my promises. And so let's do this. Since I am pretty much saying resolving that, take this. All right, I think we're in a good place now. Let's run this again. Let's see. All right, let's run this server. And here, refresh this. Now it's resolving. And if we look at our total cases here, right, for the day. And so we have total deaths. What do we have? Oh, today cases. What do we have today's deaths? Yeah. Responses 1. Oh, responses 2. That's why. Sync here. All right, so now we can it. Not PHP. Also load responses. See. Again. Here. Oh, I'm still calling it today cases here in my query. Sorry, here. So as today deaths, this is as today cases. All right. So now we should be able to. All right. So we have two real numbers, which there. All right. And then the last two, the cumulative total cases and total deaths are going to be simple to do because we just, without the where clause. And so, and Wally, would you say total deaths? So let's see. Would you say total cases is just the sum of new cases?
Yes, total cases at any point in time is the sum of new cases. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean overall.
Overall, yeah, like it would be the sum of all the new cases, like from every day.
Right.
If it's just total cases for the day, then the total new cases for the day.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Because new cases is just for that day. So if you sum it,
Yes.
that's not cumulative.
If you
That's
sum,
just what.
if you sum,
Total
If you
cases.
sum, if you sum
if you
for all
sum
the days,
all the new cases for one day, then that will be the total cases for that day.
Yeah, but you said total
Total
cases.
new
Not,
cases. No, if you want all the total cases, then you have to
it's
sum all the new. You either sum all the new cases from every single day, or you just take the latest cumulative
You sum-
case.
Yeah, no, you sum all the cumulative cases.
Yes, you sum all the cumulative cases from all the countries. Yes.
but isn't the cumulative case from day to day, wouldn't that be a false sum? Because the cumulative cases for today include.
No, it should be correct because you have the cumulative case for every single country.
Yes,
Yeah.
but what
You
I mean is
understand?
that, right, but what I mean is that the database has cumulative cases on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
So the cumulative cases for today includes the cumulative cases for yesterday.
Yes, so you don't
cumulative
add
cases for
today and yesterday. You just take the latest value. You
That's
don't
what I'm
add.
trying to say.
You don't add the cumulative cases. You just take the latest value. You add the new cases. You just take the latest value of the cumulative case.
Okay, for the day, and that gives the cumulative cases.
Well, if it's the
That
latest
makes
day,
sense.
then it's the cumulative cases for everything.
Yes,
If it's the
yes, that's
latest
what I
day,
mean.
yes.
Yes, so that's what I mean. So the cumulative cases for all the countries for the latest day is the cumulative overall.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so this is going to be cumulative cases. So
Yeah.
for the max day, this is it. This is what we're talking about, right? And then for deaths, it's going to be the same thing, which is cumulative deaths. And this is the total, right? Okay, and then here, so the same thing. Here we're going to do here. And this is going to be total. That's three. Wait, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Yeah, 4, 3, 2. Right?
Yeah, looks fine to me.
All right. Touch this now. There. So bigger than the box, but And we can fix that by making the width here. So just gonna fix that in our highlights. In our style sheet here, CSS, and our tiles. Tile, let me say, where's the width? Make it a minimum width. Okay. Oh. There. It's better. Okay. So this.
Can you format that with commas and stuff?
Yeah, you can number format.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's we'll look at that tomorrow. But
Okay.
there's like angular filters and stuff and formatting these. And there's so many different options. Also these days.
Okay.
Yeah, so like the simplest example for formatting the no, I'll do that right now. I'll do that. I would do that right now. Yeah. Okay. All right, so we'll stop here. I think this is a good place to stop. I will commit, do a commit and push anyone that wants to look at this here. Remove that. I was console logging something.
Million cases and
All right, so let me get started here. We add all right, so committed and pushed, and it's there.
slight error on the cases. Should be total depth.
Oh, up here.
Up there, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we have two total cases. So yeah, we can just change that from the picture now. That's copy pasta. All right. That's fixed. And let's commit that change. All right. So we'll end here, and then I will work on making sure we can get Angular material in there because it makes things a lot more interesting. Let me just put it that way. Right now, what we have is not responsive. In that, if I collapse this, oh well, I mean, we have a level of responsiveness because I'm using percentages, right? But it is not properly responsive. Okay, so tomorrow it will be much nicer. All right, good night, everyone.
Good night.
All right, thanks. See
Good
you
night.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll finish this up tomorrow for sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, bye.